shotgun into the pod.
I don't know what
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Okay, here we go.
You about to find out.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor. Today we're going to be talking about tips for making the best offer on your. Today we're going to talk about tips for making the best offer on your home. We got the Coach's Corner, Real Estate Hot or Not, the DMV Real Estate Report. Then we're going to jump into the comment section. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor.
What up, y'all? Coach Marcus.
And today we just going to jump right into it. How you been, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
We just had a real good conversation.
Yeah, it was very black and white, you know.
It was very black and white. We talked about production, and then I also talked about this cupping device. I started cupping, man.
Yeah,
pause.
You trying to get an endorsement.
So 30-day money back guarantee. Nah, but I've been having back pain, man, for years. When I was 18, I sneezed wrong, and then I tore a muscle or something in my back.
That thing right there is funny to me.
Dog, 18 years old. And then it just got progressively worse. And then I started using this cupping device, bro, and the joint actually like worked.
I ain't never heard of an 18-year-old sneezing and hurting his back.
Dog,
but at the same time,
I sneezed in the weirdest way. It's like, I wish it was something cool, like a cool story, you know? I got to a fight with like three, thugs in the alley. And I whooped all their butts, and I came back with like a little tear in my back.
Yeah, somebody kicked you in the back and you couldn't get yourself
And I did a backflip. I did a karate.
You fell on the curve and my back messed up.
But you should see the other guys. Nah, man, I was just sneezing. I was like, achoo. And I was like, I did that little baby cry. I was like,
That was crazy. Tough. But everything good, man?
Everything good? Yeah, everything good. We got 13 listings right now. We're trying to get off the market, man. If you know anybody looking to buy, sell, and invest in DC, Maryland, Virginia, holla at me. I got some properties for you. What's up with you, man? How's business?
Business is good. July was a good month. Glad to see August here. 5 months left in the year. Got some more goals I'm trying to hit. And I got a new contact. Well, not a new one, but an old contact of mine. He was like, man, I need you to go ahead and get that Carolina license.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's like, I got a bunch of realtors and referrals for you. And he's like, I'm getting ready to get out the game. And I was like, really? He was like, I just don't want to do it no more. So he was like, go ahead and get that. So I've already checked into it. So I might be up and running for Carolina in the next few weeks or sooner. So if you're looking on the East Coast, down in the Corolla, Nags Head area, all those areas where you take your family and get like 20 people to put them up in the house, but you want to buy one, holla at your boy. Or if you want to be in the Charlotte area, you want to be in the Raleigh-Durham area and all the other areas of Carolina.
Actually, I said the title wrong. It's not tips for making your best offer on a home. We're going to talk about actually how to know if you're ready to buy a home.
We were talking about that.
I did that last week. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. What's going on, everybody? No, I'm just joking. We're going to roll with it like that. So
I got a couple things.
The article that I wanted to reference, how to know if you're ready to buy a home. We talked to a lot of people that want to buy, and they're not quite ready yet. And that's okay.
It is.
Because the good news is everybody's not ready before they're ready.
And some people that buy
ain't ready to buy.
They shouldn't buy.
Probably shouldn't have bought. And, we hear a lot about foreclosures and, all the bad things that could possibly happen as a homeowner. And I think it's because you may have bought when you weren't really ready. So how do you know if you're ready to buy a home? Funny you should ask. So in this article by Keep It Current Matters, the way that how to know if you're ready to buy a home. So this article starts off by saying there's 3 strong tips. First tip is, do you have a stable job? One thing to consider is how stable you feel your employment is. Buying a home is a big purchase, and if you're going to sign a home loan stating that you're going to pay that loan back, that can feel like a big obligation. Knowing that you have a reliable job and income coming in can help you put your mind at ease.
So the first thing you said is have a what?
Stable job.
There you go. So the type of job that you have and how long you've been at that job, you don't have to be at your job for 6 months or 2 years or whatever it is in all cases. But the stability of the job and the proof of employment previously all of that goes into your stability or proof of stability as a potential homeowner or eligible loan applicant. I would say, like whether you're really, it's a good deal for us as lenders to give you some money, right? Um, Now, how you get paid changes up or loan. It can change from loan to loan, right? So you get paid weekly, or you get paid, bi-weekly or
Yeah.
biannually, whatever. All that can impact. Teachers get paid a lot of times once a month.
So what happened to that? We had a client, or maybe I had a client. Tell me what you think about this. So I had a client that he had two full-time jobs, but one of the jobs he had just started, and the first job that he had, it was in tech, right? So he's just on his computer all day. One of the jobs that he had started, I think he wasn't supposed to be working two full-time jobs, so he was doing it kind of like under the table or whatever,
Yeah.
working the other job under the table while he was like at work doing two jobs on his computer. He had two separate computers, everything. So how does that work when it comes to like qualifying him on his income?
So, short answer is if you don't have two full time jobs for consistent 2 years with no breaks, this is depending on the loan, but the standard is two full time jobs for consistent 2 years with no gaps of employment, then you can use both sets of income, right?
Mm,
But if you had the one job for 2 years and then you picked up a second full time job and you've been doing that for
6
3 months,
months,
6 months,
something.
3 months,
Hmm.
whatever, can't use that second income. But
Oh.
you are making the money. Your bank statement is growing because you got more money coming in.
Mm.
So we can't use that income to qualify you for a certain sales price or loan amount. But the money that's in your bank account can be used as assets towards a
Assuming you
transaction.
saved it and didn't spend all of it.
Say, well,
Or just so if you see that income coming in, that counts?
nah. I mean, we know that the income's coming in, right? So you got two jobs. He works at Google and Apple,
Right.
but he started working at Google for 2 years, and then he picked up Apple 3 months ago, 6 months ago. We can use the Google income monthly to help him qualify for the mortgage,
Okay.
but the Apple income, I can't use that Apple income to also help him qualify the mortgage. But the money that's coming from Apple, it's hitting his bank account. So he went from 5,000 to 10,000 to 15 every month. So now I know that you got money coming in and you got money for your down payment and closing costs, but I can't use this money to help you qualify for the loan.
Got it. So
But
that's assuming that the money's in the bank account.
right, but if the money, but if the money's like in you getting paid from Apple and you putting that money in a safe or something like that, or you working under the table,
Or you just get it and you spend it, get it and spend it. That doesn't
it's
count.
gone.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's the stable job. That's number one. You got to have a stable job.
job.
Number two, you have to figure out, the question is, have you figured out what you can afford? So to make sure you have a good idea of what you'll need to save and what you can expect to spend on your monthly payment, talk to a trusted lender. They'll be able to guide you and tell you about the pre-approval process, what you can borrow, your current mortgage rates, and approximate monthly payments, closing costs to anticipate, and what percentage of the purchase price of the home you'll need as your down payment and more. So let me ask you this question, trusted lender. This is probably one of the biggest questions we get from our clients, the biggest points of confusion. Here's the question that we get. How much do I need for my down payment? And then how much do I need for closing costs? And then what is my total cash to close?
Okay. Those are the two major buckets. Down payment's one bucket, closing costs is the other bucket. I'll start with the second. The closing cost is just the work that's done to get your loan through the process and to the closing table. Most of it you don't see, it's all behind the scenes, but there's a little bit up front that you do have to participate in, right? And you do see. Now, that money for the closing costs can come from a gift or come from an assistance program, whatever. But if you don't get any money from anywhere else, you've got to pay the money for your closing costs. And typically, they might be anywhere from 3% to 5% of the total loan sales price.
Just for the closing costs.
Just for the closing costs. So on a $300,000 property, you might pay $12,000 just in closing costs, depending on where the property is and all that, right? So that's $12,000 to set aside on this $300,000 property. Now, based upon your qualifications, you might need 3% or 3.5% as your down payment. So if you need 3% for your down payment as a first time buyer, which is on a $300,000 property, that's $9,000 plus the $12,000 for closing costs. That's $21,000 that you need to be present at the closing table. Now, before you get to the closing table, you have to show us that you have this money, right? Now, we can't give you 100% approval unless you show us you got the money to get to the table. Now, do you have to have all the money for this? No, you don't, because you have down payment assistance programs for first-time buyers. You have some down payment assistance programs for repeat buyers. You have grant money for in certain counties
Now,
and
what's up with these down payment assistance programs? Because they're kind of hard to get into.
there's always qualifications, right? So each just because you get a certain type of loan, which could be a conventional loan or FHA loan. FHA loan doesn't mean that that's the loan for first-time buyers. The program as a whole is a first-time buyer program, and inside of that program, there's different loan options. Conventional is one, FHA is another, and then so on. Now, each loan itself has some qualifications that you have to meet, but if you want to go get that loan through this program, you also have to meet the program's guidelines, right?
Right.
So FHA, so for instance, FHA loans will say we'll take 55% debt ratio. That means that your expenses can go up to 55% of what you make before taxes come out of your check, right? Each month. The program might say, this first time buyer program say, we don't care about the 55%. We say in order to be in this program, you got to stay below 45%.
So basically, if you make $5,000 a month, your expenses can't exceed, just for easy math, can't exceed $2,500 a month. 50% debt ratio.
Much. Now, that expense that we're talking about, it includes the mortgage payment.
It includes the future mortgage payment.
The mortgage payment you're trying to get. So if you got a $500 car payment, $200 on $250 on credit cards, another $250 on student loans, you already had $1,000, right?
Yeah, $900.
And if we already said that you're at 50% of $5,000, that's $2,500.
$2,500.
Subtract $1,000 that we already
16.
So you only got $1,500-$1,600 to spend
on your
mortgage payment.
That's also
principal, interest, taxes, homeowners insurance,
right?
The
PITI,
the mortgage insurance premium, that's PMI, right?
Right,
and a possible condo fee or HOA fee. You got to get all that inside that $1,500. So what that might mean is, I like that $400,000 or $300,000 property, but these numbers match up to where you sit at about $125,000, $150,000 property,
and that's why the debt is super, super big. And unfortunately, in this country, man, we're so debt heavy. Like, we want to get big cars, and we want to drive Mercedes, and we want to drive Jaguars, and we rent an apartment, and then we get a lot of times we get our priorities mixed up. I'm driving a beater right now because I don't want to get a car note, so I got a beater, and I got a little car, a 1996 car.
How many miles you got on your beater?
That beater got like 170.
What year is it?
2012. Just drive that joint around, get back and forth. I drive my Beamer. That joint got like almost 190 something on there. Yeah. I just keep replacing the parts. That joint going like,
hey, listen.
But the point is the debt, man. It's the debt that really sinks a lot of our people. Where we got a nice car, we got 2 or 3 cars, we got a couple credit cards, and then if you ain't making bank, if you're not making a bunch of money, they put the liabilities before they put the assets, and that's a mistake. Because the asset is what's going to appreciate in value. The liabilities are what's going to depreciate in value. Typically, your liabilities cost way more on the interest side of it. So you're usually paying twice as much for the asset over the period of that 5 years that you get a car note or whatever the debt that you want to finance is. 21% interest rates, that stupid stuff. And so it sinks a lot of our people because they go, oh man, I want to buy this $300,000-$400,000 house, but my DTI, my debt to income ratio, God forbid, then you get a couple late payments, you got some charge-offs because you ain't paid your bills, and you got a delinquency or something. Boom, now you're in a $125,000 category where, if you'd have kept the debt, drive a 5-10-year-old car, get you 100 something. That's if and that depends on how much you making per month, right? Per year. But most people, they're making 150, maybe 70,000 a year. So if you drive, you got a $500 car note plus $500 in insurance, that's eating up half of your income per
Yeah.
year. So you're gonna live in a car, so it's about having a priority straight, and it's good that you guys are listening, especially Real Estate Wire Squad. Y'all listening to this conversation with an actual lender that's explaining it. Like, yo, this is how you qualify for the
Yeah.
property. This is what your DTI actually means. It's like, yo, you got to have 50%, including whatever house you want to buy. So you have to think about that mortgage payment on the house that you want to buy, and it can't go 50% above that, which means your expenses and we're not even talking about the expenses that's going to happen when you get inside the house.
Yeah. You haven't turned on one light, and you haven't put you ain't put nothing in the refrigerator yet. you know, you don't
Yeah.
have internet. You don't, and you're not talking, and we're not even thinking about like uh, gas. Get in your car to get back and forth. We're not talking about like cell phones so you can communicate, do what you do. But like, I do my absolute best to make this thing make sense. I mean, y'all know I'm a college flunk out, and I've just been grinding for the past 20 years in this business, and I've learned a ton. But like the work ethic, that ain't never to be questioned. The the matter of like making it make sense. If I got to break this thing down in crayon for the people, like to make it
Yeah.
make sense, so that they can win. Like we go from the crayon explanation and breakdown to like quickly moving through. Like, oh, I graduated. Oh, I got my diploma. What's the graduation and diploma moment?
Mhm.
Oh, that's keys in your hand for the house. Because
Right.
if you listen and follow it, it works, and it's really super easy. So I would say, not to cut you off, but we have cut you off. I think the
Who,
first thing,
me?
yeah,
Yeah,
like
you cut me
you
off.
got cut off so good you didn't even realize you got cut off.
Pause.
But I would say like pay attention to what's going on in the markets. Go to like some of your websites and like you see what's the going market interest rate. Right now it's sitting around 7%. So if you use 7% to help you understand like where the market is and what number I can use to help qualify, then you can go online and do like a pre-qualification website or pre-qualification test, put in how much money you make, use the interest rate of 7% at 30-year fixed, put in how many debts you have per month or what the number is, and it can
Hmm.
tell you, oh, based upon this information, you might qualify for X amount of dollars. That's a pre-qualification. Dan ain't gonna take you out seeing a house on that, but it's a conversation that you can come to me with and say, look, I went online and did this pre-qualification thing, and it said I was about 300,000. Okay, great. Now let's take the next step and really figure out what the real number is.
Yeah.
That's an application, documents, credit report, and then you get a pre-approval, and we'll see if that 300,000 sticks or not.
Another important thing to think about, the article continues, is how long do you plan to stay there?
Mm.
It takes time to build equity in your home through paying down your loan and home price appreciation. If you plan to move too soon, you may not recoup your investment. For example, if you're looking to sell and move again in a year, it might not make sense to buy right now. And I think that kind of sums up what a lot of our clients have been experiencing. And what I tell a lot of my clients is like, look, in the 7% interest rate market like we're in right now,
Mm.
you can still win. Remember, like we said, it doesn't matter about when you buy. It's not about when you buy. It's about how you buy. Your strategy. If
Yeah.
you say, look, my strategy is to buy this house in a 7% interest rate market, and then once the interest rates drop, I'm going to refi and I'm going to hold this joint for 7 years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever. Right? Then that's a great plan. Then real estate, it looks like that's a good move for you. If you say, look, I'm just looking for, some quick gains and I want to try to flip the property really quick. And one of the questions I get a lot from my clients, and I have to redirect them, they always ask, well, how much you think I can sell it for when I sell it? I don't know.
Before they bought it.
Even before they're buying it, that's the wrong strategy to have. That's the wrong question you should be asking. The question you should be asking is, how long do I plan on holding on to this property?
Yeah.
And that's going to determine what interest rate market you're going to buy in. If you're saying, oh, I want to just try and get a quick flip, well, then you should have bought 2 or 3 years ago. Those were the interest rates where you could have gotten a quick flip.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it as when you were saying like, well, I want to make a quick. It's almost like I want to make some quick money. Well, if your initial conversation or the way that you're thinking is this is an owner occupied primary residence, then that's different. That's a different conversation than somebody who's trying to make a flip.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they say, okay, well, I'll probably be in it, 3 to 5 years or something like that. Well, it to me, it seems like it would be a different type of conversation. Like, oh, we need to look at a different type of property,
Exactly.
or or come up with a different formula.
And
Because you go, yeah,
that's exactly right. The strategy is, like I said, you can't, if you're a mom and pop home buyer, the last thing on your mind should be how much can I sell this for when I sell it? Because that's not your, if you're planning on living there for 10 years, you're just gonna sell it for whatever the market is in 10 years. If you're thinking, oh, I'm not gonna buy this house unless I think I can make X amount when I get ready to sell it, that's the wrong strategy.
you know what you know what I think? It's kind of a different way. It just popped in my head. Like maybe these people have gotten the message about investing in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because in some ways it's better to buy than rent because you're
Mm-hmm.
paying somebody else's mortgage, right, or paying somebody's mortgage, and they're like, well, I can invest in myself and I can buy it, sell in a few years. And they're already thinking about selling in a few years because they're so used to having to move potentially every year as a renter.
Mm.
And now they're getting into a different activity, different habits, but they still got a little bit of that
Yeah.
same like renter's heart,
Right.
with
Yeah.
them.
I agree with that.
But it's good. It's good that they're thinking like this. So I don't want y'all to be distracted
No, it's
or
good.
discouraged.
Again, like I said,
All questions are pretty dope.
it's situationally specific, right? So if you
Yeah,
say all any real estate that you buy is a great deal. And I don't care what you say. It's all a great deal.
agree.
It just depends on how long you're going to hold it. You're not going to buy a stock today and then try to sell it tomorrow.
Right.
Everybody understands that concept.
Mhm.
You're going to lose money more than likely unless you're day trading. But again, that's a strategy. You're day trading, so you're diversifying your risk over a bunch of different stocks. Whichever one flips at the moment, you sell it in like that morning or a day because you're set up for that particular strategy. You know your strategy going in. So you're saying, yo, I'm gonna do some flips. I'm gonna just keep flipping stocks. I'm gonna do day trading. So I'm gonna set up my platform. I'm gonna keep watching all the stocks. Whichever one pops off is the one I'm gonna sell. You cannot day trade with one stock. It doesn't work that way because you don't know what that stock's gonna do from day to day. You're more than likely gonna lose money. Now let's take the parallel to that. Let's say you're investing in an S&P and you got some Vanguard stock and you say, look, I'm just going to buy and hold for a long time. I'm not going to touch it. I'm putting in some money markets. I'm going to get some nice, stable investments. And I'm just going to put my money in there and watch it grow. That's the strategy where if you're going to buy a house, you're going to hold it for 5, 7, 10 years. What you buy it at, the interest rate that you buy it at is basically irrelevant because over the long term, you're going to absorb those losses. When the market shifts, you're going to take advantage of the opportunity and then refi. If you buy at 7, oh, I see the interest rates went to 5. Then you're going to refi down to 5
Yeah.
in year whatever it is, 5, 4, 7, right? And then you're going to continue to hold that property over a long term. That's the strategy when you say, "Oh, I'm going to buy in a 7% interest rate market." That's the conversation that I'm having with my clients. That they're saying, "Okay, I want to buy in this market, but what do I need to do because I don't want to lose money?" Well, it's a long-term strategy. If you're trying to do a flip strategy with real estate, you need to be way more aggressive. You need to be looking at properties that you can force the appreciation on so that you can get out really quickly.
Yeah.
If you're buying a property that's already fixed up, there's nowhere for it to go in such a fast amount of
Yeah.
time,
You
in
depend
such a
on the
short
market.
period. Depends on the market,
Yeah.
right? But if you're buying a property that's completely dilapidated and you say, I'm going to put 100,000 into it and then I'm going to flip it in 6 months. Well, yeah, great. You've forced the appreciation in that property so you can exit quickly. But if you've not done anything to force the appreciation and then your only goal is to try and flip it, well, you're not actually flipping it. So the strategy has to match the market and it has to match your long-term goals and what you're trying to do with the property.
I love it. And that's why we're here to educate, because if you don't need to do that by yourself. To be honest with you, without any experience,
It takes experience.
yeah, like you read the books all you want, you can watch the shows all you want, but you got to have somebody who got some bullet wounds and some stab wounds and
Yeah.
and had to get your tail beat and out in this market, take some losses, but got a lot of victories, to be able to know like this is how you navigate through this space.
Yeah, if you're not in a position to take those losses, this isn't the market for you. To do something that somebody else is doing, but you haven't done the research or don't have the liquidity to do what they're doing.
I had one of the investors that I know down in Southern Virginia, and shout out Chris O'Neill, done deal. He was like, man, he's this is what he does. Like he's a shark, you know
Yep.
what I mean? He was like, there's not one investor that I know that's been doing this that has never taken a loss. Like everybody that's doing it,
Impossible.
you gonna take at least one.
The only difference between those guys and people who don't succeed is when they take the loss, they keep it moving.
Correct.
The reason they're able to absorb that loss again is because they're diversified. They haven't put all their eggs in one basket.
Right.
A lot of times, if you got a solid 9 to 5 job, you make 150 something a year, and you want to get a nice house, and maybe you want to grab up an investment property for buy and hold.
Right.
And then you try to do a flip strategy. Do you have the liquidity to do that? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But you have to say, hey, if everything goes wrong in this deal, can I absorb a $30,000 loss? What if I think I'm going to make $75,000 and I just break even? Well, you don't really break even because you still got to pay your transactional costs. You see, so do you have the money to absorb that? If yes, good. If not, you either have to do something a little less risky, or don't play the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's we can work that topic forever.
So let's get into the coach's corner.
Are we?
What you got for us, coach?
So we were just talking about first time buyers and 3% whatnot. So regulators have proposed, not saying it's going to happen, but they have proposed changes to bank capital rules, which might lead to banks requiring more capital for certain mortgages. Capital means more what? More money.
Dolores.
Yes. Especially those with smaller down payments.
Wow.
So
the less money you have, the more money they're going to charge you.
There you go. So
America.
So what they say is critics are warning that this could make home ownership more difficult for first time and minority borrowers, and it might increase borrowing costs and limit credit availability. So regulators are looking for feedback on these changes, and they're arguing that they are needed for financial stability.
They don't care about feedback.
What this sounds like to me, well, so there's a guy, the president of the NBA Mortgage Bankers Association, Bob Brokesmith.
Bob Broski.
Yeah. What up, Bob?
What up, Broski?
It says, without significant revisions, this proposal will increase borrowing costs and reduce credit availability for the very consumers and borrowers this administration seeks to assist. So, what say you, Dan?
I mean, it sounds about right. It sounds about right. I mean, this administration is constantly shooting themselves in the foot. I'm excited to see them go. All of their policies have not worked and have caused the exact opposite of what they're trying to do. They have no clue what they're talking about. And I'm not talking about Democrat or Republican. I'm just talking about the people in general who are, our overlords. The whole pandemic stuff completely screwed up the market and the economy. Inflation's crazy. Now they're trying to control inflation. It's just like now they're trying to mitigate their risk by making credit less available. And it is what it is. I think as a capitalist, I'm actually in favor of it. I think credit should go to people who deserve it. I understand that they're trying to make it more available for people to get into housing. And I know this is like kind of contradictory because I'm a real estate agent, but I honestly don't think everybody should own a house right now. I really don't.
I agree.
And I think if you haven't, this is going to hurt Real Estate Wire Squad. I'm going to say it anyway. If you haven't had the discipline your entire life to pay your bills on time, if you have not had the discipline to save up your down payment,
right.
If you have not had the discipline to, to keep your credit clean, to manage your debt, more debt is not your answer. A $500,000 mortgage is going to destroy you, whether you think so or not. And we're selling you on buying houses. Oh, you need to buy. It's better than renting. Caveat, it's better if you're financially stable, if you're financially responsible.
Right.
But just because you're doing something new doesn't mean you're doing something better. So if you're paying your bills late, you're probably going to pay your bills at your house late. Yeah,
no, probably.
You haven't changed
the
the same
habit.
person. You haven't changed the habit.
Yeah.
You just changed the location. You made a lateral move. And you got electric you got to pay. You got to pay your water bill. You got to pay your gas bill. You got to pay your homeowner's insurance. You got to pay for trash in some states, some cities. Then you still got to pay for food. So these are expenses that are going to be increased in your daily budget. So the fact that they're saying, hey, let's tighten up this market a little bit. And now, do I think it's fair? No, life's not fair. I'm not talking about the fairness of life, but I understand it.
Yeah, and I think that there's a matter of sometimes some certain people aren't given the same opportunities as others.
Certain
But
people aren't given the same opportunity as others, and some people aren't in a position to take advantage of
but
all
I
opportunities.
but I do think that there's an organic sense of it's just me, Marcus, thinking and talking. I think that there's a matter of everybody has the opportunity to go get what they want, go get something, go after something.
Sure.
Everybody, like we talk about, 2 hands, 2 feet. If you're able-bodied, I ain't talking about disabled or none of that, but I'm saying like if you're able-bodied and have abilities, you can go get the same thing and go after it. You may not obtain what you see everybody else having,
Sure.
but you can certainly go after it, and it's a matter of the hustle that we've been talking about, right? With that said, they're talking about making this could make homeownership more difficult for first-time and minority borrowers, which we know this country was built off the backs of minorities um, and minorities, us, right? So when we say you first time buyers, you need some help, and you only need 3%. Interest rate might be whatever. Now it's saying, okay, a first time buyer needing down payment assistance or help already doesn't have the money or the resources. So now we're saying in order for you to become a first time buyer, you need more money, and you're going to limit the credit availability.
I think.
Well, how does that? I mean, it kind of just, and if this is an administrative policy, from the top, then it kind of it continues in the same thing that it's always been.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sucks that there's not. It's kind of tough because I know a lot of my people that I grew up with. The moment we turned 18, we got sent credit cards. We
Yeah.
ran into the car dealerships and got loaded with a bunch of debt before we even had real estate.
Okay.
Most of us didn't even have anybody to tell us that, hey, that's kind of stupid. Like, you may not want to do that. We didn't have anybody because our folks didn't have that.
Your back hurt. My knee was starting to act up.
You want trying to throw the cup on there?
No.
Okay. Holla at your boy if you're looking for these. Just got a 30. They get no. Just make sure to type in my affiliate
Must
code.
use the promo code.
Oh, but you know what though? I am an affiliate for
Actively Black.
Actively Black.
I saw those pants and I was like,
You feeling them? I'll give you my affiliate
pause.
code, bro.
Send me.
I'm gonna put my affiliate link in the bottom, yo.
Please do that. But let me get that.
Yeah. I got the actively black link for y'all. Holla at your boy. They got sweats, they got hoodies, they got all type of athleisure wear for
they got
for the African American young professional.
They got an Allen Iverson line coming out too.
Yeah, they got the AI. I'm gonna put my affiliate link down in the code.
For
If y'all
sure,
trying to get down,
let me get that.
Your boy. Yeah, I love them. They're comfortable.
They make it in my size.
Sweat. They do make them in the extra large sizes. So they got, you know what I'm saying? They got all sizes. Little guy like me, big guy like you, all of them.
That's what you're gonna do. I lost weight.
I can tell.
I have lost weight.
How much you lose?
I'm actually down 10 pounds.
Hey, see, if I was down 10 pounds, I look like a crackhead.
I'm trying to get.
You trying to get the crackhead vibe?
No, I'm trying, but I'm trying to get to get 15 more off. Between 10 and 15 more.
Dang, that's what you're doing. Running,
riding the bike,
bicycle around the neighborhood.
Yeah. I'm riding like minimally. Now I live in a bunch of hills out in the country.
Yeah,
so them things. Woo. Listen, brother can't have walk when I get back. Sometimes knees and thighs be burning, but.
What is that?
But also intermittent fasting. I've been doing that as well. So.
Okay. Yeah, I did a fast Thursday.
Really?
It was brutal, bro.
Juice cleanse or something?
Nah, I just fast. It was it's like this Jewish holiday because we study Kabbalah. So you fast like for the whole day or whatever. It helps you like connect to like the. I'm not a very good Kabbalist, so don't listen to my explanation. But I'm a terrible student. But I did the fast and it was brutal, bro. I was like,
yeah.
But it was good, man.
When you fast, it puts your marriage at risk sometimes because
the
attitudes around the attitudes around the house and everything.
Yeah,
so
the hanger is real. Why you ain't close the door?
Straight up, you be fussing about stuff that has there's
nothing to do with anything.
Correct.
So let's get into the DMV real estate market report real quick.
Get
Then we're going to jump
into
to the
it.
hot and not. So new listings in the DMV are down 3.2%. We got 7,000. And from June, actually, wow, they're actually down almost 40% from June. 39% new listings. The reason that this is important is because new listings, if you're trying to buy, means that there's less homes available for you to buy. There's 39% less homes available for you to buy right now.
37% less.
39% rather. I'm sorry. 39.7%. And this again is directly related to rate locked homeowners because people need to put their houses on the market, but if they're in 2%, they're not going nowhere. And that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. This administration, I think, kept us at 2% for way too long. Too many people got locked in at 2.5%, and now there's a cog in the wheel because nobody's moving. People are not putting their properties on the market. So a lot of people, remember we've been talking about, everybody was talking about it's going to be a real estate crash. We didn't have a real estate crash. We had an inventory crash.
Correct.
So there is no bottom because we're at the bottom inventory-wise. That doesn't mean there's a whole bunch of foreclosures coming. Everybody thought there was a whole bunch of foreclosures coming. There's going to be a whole bunch of real estate available, and then you could just pick your house. They're going to be selling it for pennies over the dollar. We clearly see that that's still not happening, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon because in order to have a crash, you have to have too much real estate and not enough buyers. Right now, we don't have enough real estate, and we have too many buyers, right? New pendings, that means properties that are under contract, is down 18%. Closed sales is down 19%, which makes sense because we don't have that many houses to actually sell. And then the median sold price. Now, here's the crazy thing, y'all. Here's the crazy thing. The median sold price is up. I'll let you guys in the real estate wire spot figure that out. Why is that? Why do we have less properties for sale and the prices continue to go up? Why do you guys think that is? Type that in the comments below. We'll let you guys put your comments below and tell us why you think we have a record low amount of homes available for sale and a record increase in the amount of in the price for the few available homes that we have. Why do you think that is? Don't answer, Marcus. All right. You guys tell us. Because a lot of people would think, oh man, the price is going to come down. I'll just wait for prices to come down. Price is not coming down. They're going up by 1.5%. All right, Marcus, let's get into the real estate hot or not. Boom, boom, bigga, boom, boom.
Would you rather? That reminds me of the music. Do you watch blaxploitation movies? Have you?
I'm not as old as you, Marcus. I didn't grow up watching Jackie Brown.
Man, I try to give them a run. Like sometimes they come on Amazon Prime, and I'm like,
the only one I watched was the Spook That Sat by the Door. I told you about that movie. You ain't watched it yet. That movie is just legit.
I need, because it wasn't
legit.
I'm like, man. I think back like in the 70s when these movies came out. I'm like, y'all really sat the movie theater and watched this, and it was actually good.
Choice.
It was good, but anyway.
All right.
Would you rather communicate only in email or never be able to text at all again?
Don't threaten me with a good time. I'll take neither. I'd rather just communicate via email, man. 90% of the phone calls I get could have just been an email, bro. Hey, I'm calling about 123 Main Street. Just had a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Is the property still available? Is it negotiable?
You like last week you said like, man, just get to the point.
Just answer. What?
Send me the paperwork and let me look at it. Yeah.
Send me an email, bro. I'll take email.
Yeah, I'll take the email too.
Yeah,
this question right here bothers me. Would you rather lounge by the pool or lounge by the beach?
I guess I'll take the beach because the pools, I don't like that chlorinated smell. I hate the smell of pools.
If I got to go with one of them, I guess I'd do the beach.
Yeah, because I'm black and I don't need sunscreen, so I love it.
That you do need sunscreen.
Lies.
Lies
from the sunscreen corporation.
Would you rather? Would you rather?
Oh, have you seen those? I'm gonna see you this TikTok. It's like a UV.
Take it that.
It's like a UV camera, and they showing like white people putting on sunscreen
Oh, it was on their
and just
faces.
make them black. You see that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Is
don't
it
need
real?
sunscreen. I've never used sunscreen a day in my life, and I've never been sunburned ever. Ever. You been sunburned?
Yeah, I've been sunburned.
I never been sunburned.
You
I went to
never heard my Miami story? I went to Miami trying to be like, this is 20, 30 pounds ago, probably. Many
you
years
mark your
ago.
life in weight.
Yeah.
Go ahead. 20, 30 pounds ago.
Because I didn't have the mini keg. I had the little six pack, the 4-pack.
Oh, 4-pack. You drank 2 of them.
Shut up.
Mm.
Man, I was out there in Miami, and I didn't know that the heat was as hot in Miami and the sun was as intense. So I'm out there with my little sun stuff on, whatever. I'm out there trying to get brown. I ain't get brown. I got burnt. Like, I'm talking about, like, my forehead, every area was peeling. And
it hurt?
Yeah, that joint hurt.
Never happened to me.
And the only way that I actually got right was this Puerto Rican lady, when I worked at Navy Federal, this Puerto Rican lady said, your skin doesn't look good. You need to go to this international grocery store across the street and get you the big wide aloe leaf. Cut it in strips, get the gel out of it, and put it on your body and let it dry. And then once I did that, for like 3 days, my skin was healed.
Never been sunburned a day in my life. Holler at your boy. Melanated Peoples Unite.
Would you rather spend a week in the forest or a night in a real haunted house?
What do you mean, like a real haunted house?
That house is really tripping. Trap doors and
oh, okay. Well,
they all in there.
Yeah.
Give me the forest.
Really? Yeah, because you a country boy anyway.
Yeah, I can survive and all that.
You be wrapping snakes around your pants for a belt. Still be alive.
I do use a bungee cord for my belt.
I know you do. Country. I guess I'll take the forest. I'm just scared of spiders, man. What if they bite me and I die?
You'll be all right.
I'll be all right. I'll be dead.
Would you rather get trapped in the middle of a food fight or a water balloon fight?
I'll take the water balloon.
Yeah, me too.
And water's self-cleaning.
What? You said water is self-cleaning? You're so stupid. Last one. Would you rather spend a year at war or a year in prison?
War. At least I got a gun.
That is a fact.
I'm too small to go to jail.
Hey, listen. I ain't built for it.
I don't know all the jail rules. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Let me give you one last one, because one got to go.
All right.
This is real estate related.
All right.
Single families, townhouses, or condos got to go.
One got to go.
Yeah.
I guess townhouses.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I like condos. I'm thinking of like dope condos, like, with a overlook of the city, with like balconies. So I'm thinking more so like, and single families can't go nowhere. So what about you?
You actually my answer was condos, but like when you start to make it sound like that, a condo in, wherever, let's say a condo in Dubai that's
right,
45 stories up, or something like that might be cool. I'd probably be scared to be up that high.
Oh, really?
Man, some of those condos that I've been in like DC and Arlington, Alexandria, I look down, I'm like, I get that weird jittery feeling when you look down. You kind of I'm like, nah. But to look out over the ocean or whatever might be a cool vibe. So yeah, townhouses can go. The backyards are always limited on a townhouse anyway.
So let's get into.
The brother did not acknowledge what I said.
I was thinking about the next segment, man. I thought you was wrapping it up. My bad.
I did wrap it up.
That was a good wrap.
Let's get to the comment section, folks.
My bad. I'm sorry. Say what you said. Say the whole thing again.
I ain't gonna say it. Go to the comment section.
I was thinking about the next segment, man. I'm looking at these comments like, who gonna be the next comment for us? All right. So I think we're gonna get into this comment again about housing being a right. So But I feel like we've exhausted that comment. These people keep saying that housing is a right, and I think that
Who
you know, I think they're just kind of
came up
uneducated.
with that?
Yeah, I don't know why they think that housing is a right because it's just not.
Is that like we're talking like housing being a constitutional right
I mean, so okay, now we can.
or God given right,
Well, I mean, I think they
like
fall under the
human
same
nature right?
category. If you're right, so let's talk about rights for a second. There's two different types of rights. You have what's called positive rights, and you have what's called negative rights. Pos-
Do two rights make it wrong?
no, listen. Two rights make a left. Listen, positive rights and negative rights. So when you talk about God-given rights versus constitutional rights, so a negative right. A negative right is a right not to be interfered with. A negative right is a right that imposes no obligation on others except that of non interference. Negative rights are rights that focus on limiting others from interfering in an individual's life, liberty, and property. For example, I have a right for you not to come on my property,
Yes,
right? So you cannot impose your will onto me. I have
that's a
no obligation. The only thing you got to do is leave me alone.
that's a positive right.
That's a negative right.
What
I
I'm
have the
saying,
right for you to not punch me in the face. That's my right. You cannot punch me in the face. I have the right for you to not punch me in the face.
yeah, that's a positive right, right?
No, that's a negative right. Now, here's a positive right. It'll make sense when I explain the positive right. The positive right is rights to life and self-ownership. The rights to life and self-ownership protect the life and bodily integrity of a human. The right to life is a belief that a human being or animal must not be killed. Self-ownership means that an individual has the right to be the exclusive controller of one's body. Here, control refers to any physical interference. So I have the positive right to swing my arms, right? You have the negative right to not be punched in the face. So I can say, I have the right to swing my arms. That's true. You have the right, the positive right. I have the right to build a house somewhere. I have the right to sit here in my chair, right? I also have the right to not negative, right? To not be infringed upon. I have the right for you not to come on. So you can say, well, I have the right to walk anywhere I want to. You do have the right to walk anywhere you want to. But when your right infringes on my right, then I have the right to tell you to get off my lawn. You
Yeah,
see?
because your right is actually wrong to me, so
Exactly. You
so
see?
I'm exercising
So
my
your
right.
rights end where my rights begin. You dig?
Where's the line?
Negative rights and positive rights. The line is the Constitution of the United States that outlines all of our rights. If you don't like the rights, then go to another country where they don't have a constitution. That's easy. Just hop on a plane. But here in America, I have the negative right to not have you take a dump on my lawn. I have a negative right. That's my right for you to not infringe upon my rights. I have the positive right to be able to build a house on my lawn. I have the right to do that. You don't have the right to tell me not to build a house on my lawn or a shed in my backyard. You don't have the right to tell me that because I have the positive right to do so. You have the negative right. You have the negative right for me not to punch you in the face, right? You haven't done anything, but I'm doing something to you, which means that's a negative right. You have the right for me to not do something. So that's the difference between negative rights and positive rights. Now, when we talk about housing being a right, the reason why housing is not a right is because it negatively infringes upon someone. It's incumbent upon somebody to build a house for you. And you don't have the right to my free labor. That's called slavery. You dig? So you don't have the right to tell me, oh, you have to build me a house. You don't have the right to have contractors and plumbers build all of these houses and people to put up the money, right? And then you say, well, housing is a right. I have the right to do that. You do have the right to build your own house, you see? But people don't understand when they say housing is a right, the reason housing, I understand where they're coming from. Like everybody should be able to live and have a house. That's true. But you don't have the right to somebody else's labor. You don't have the right to somebody else's money to build the house for you. And all you do is just walk in and live for free.
Absolutely not.
That's why housing is not a right.
Yeah.
Can't explain all that on TikTok, but
true. What you see these tent communities coming out, right?
Mhm.
and that might be the only housing that person, not asking the builder to build or not trying to live on your property, but like these tent communities are popping up like under bridges and these things like do they have a right to be there or they don't have a right to be there?
Well, let's ask that question.
Depending on what land they're on, if it's state owned and the state says you can or can't.
I mean, now we're talking about the community, right? And we're talking about the country. You're talking about your state and you're talking about your country. And in states, and I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but in states and in communities and in certain districts, you don't have a right to just, for example, I don't have a right to just whip out take a dump in the middle of the highway. Mm-hmm. I don't have that right. That's indecent exposure. So you don't have the right to just do anything that you want to do. You can't set up a tent on the White House lawn and say, I'm going to live here, right? Now, do police always enforce the people who are basically homeless and vagrants and stuff like that? No, because they know if they prosecute them, they're just going to get thrown out and then it's going to go right. The prosecutor's not going to prosecute a homeless person for setting up tents. So kind of a waste of a police officer's time to like destroy these whole tent cities and all that. So do they have the right to do that? No, it's illegal. It's trespassing. It's vagrancy. You can't just like sit out in the middle and set up a tent and an oven and a kitchen and no, you can't just build anywhere. But you do have the right to purchase land, right? You do have the right to build a house anywhere you want. If you want to build it from scratch and chop down the trees and put the roof on it and build it yourself. So when people say housing is a right, housing is a right. What you don't have the right to is free labor. In order to buy a house in this country, it's dependent on someone else's labor. So these people who say housing is a right, then when you start asking them deeper questions like, well, who's going to pay the workers for your free housing? Because they have the right to be paid for their labor, don't they?
So to kind of answer the question, is housing an inalienable right? I think the better question is, or statement for me is, you have the right to go after what you want. Go work for it. Go get it. There's nobody gonna give it to you. Get some education and guidance so that you can be best positioned for the success that you are trying to obtain. And whatever success is to you, it is to you. But it ain't gonna come without some sweat equity. And some TLC.
All facts, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for jumping on to the Real Estate Wire podcast.
Yes, sir.
Make sure to like, subscribe, share this content with anybody that you might think is dope. If you're listening on the pod, make sure to leave a 5-star review. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to like this video and share it.
Yep.
For all of us here at the Real Estate Wire, where can they find you at, Coach?
At Fields Mortgage Group and at Mortgage Coach Marcus.
And I'm Dan Wheeler, Sells Homes on all platforms. Thank you very much. We are out. Solid.
Yes, sir.